If you know me at all, you shouldn't be surprised that I had similar reactions today to getting into grad school and seeing Krusty's waterbed palace in the trailer for next week's episode. Hi guys, it's Kate and welcome to my booktube. I'm here to talk about episode 6 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And it was an interesting one. There are positives, there are negatives. There are more positives this time than negatives. I liked how they reworked the iris messaging into this episode. It was cute. I was happy because at first I was a little weirded out that they were doing iris messaging in an enclosed space, but by opening the window, that made sense. That was fair. I loved that when Grover set free all of the animals, he was so focused on whether the animals would be okay that when Percy asks if the humans will, Grover's like, well, the animals will be fine. And that was very in character and very funny. I loved Annabeth being all like, well, clearly this is the Lotus Casino, and Percy being like, it was just very, very them. Like, they're getting their banter, you know. It's becoming, it's coalescing. So that's cool. And it's cute. And now the Lotus Casino scene. Now, overall, I really liked it. I liked how Pan is what distracted Grover and caused him to get lost, because he was so excited that he might find Pan that it allowed him to stop thinking about the quest, and so he was more easily able to forget about it. I thought his satyr friend was also pretty funny. I think that Hermes was good. I think that he's doing a pretty good job, like, portraying that awkwardness of how Hermes is both known as a terrible father, but he knows that, but he still loves Luke. Like, a lot of the gods just don't care about their kids at all, and Hermes cares at least about this kid. So that like weird imbalance there, that was well portrayed. I still don't know how I feel about Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't hate him like I think some people might. Not that I've seen any reviews yet. I filmed these right after watching them because I don't want other people's opinions to affect my immediate thoughts. But you know, people were complaining about him when the promotional stuff came out and when the last episode he was in happened. And I think he's fine. I'm just still a little weirded out by Hermes being so slow. Like, he's not moving around a lot, and I'm like, it's Hermes. He's always moving. Like, he should have a phone call going off constantly. Like, how does it make sense that Hermes is in a place where time slows down and everything outside goes faster? Because then he's missing more time, right? So I don't know. That felt weird. Though I did like what Hermes did. It makes sense that Hermes is the one that they go to for like information on how to get into the underworld, because Hermes is one of the only people, gods or otherwise, who has went to the underworld and came back. And so, of course, that's who you go to. And it's surprising, honestly, that they didn't go to him in the first book. It makes sense. This is an understandable thing. Why he's at the Lotus Casino, again, doesn't make a lot of sense. That's not what they did the mythology. He's not part of that story in the mythology. And trust me, I know. It's 10 sentences. Well, 10 stanzas in the ancient Greek. And it's like, Odysseus and his men show up. He sends some of them to go scout out the island. They never come back. They go to see what's going on. They see that these men have completely forgot who they are, and they're very distracted with drinking and partying. They grab the men, and they pull them back to the ship. That's how I remember it. I don't have the Odyssey, like, in my hands at the moment. My copy is on the other side of the room. But that's basically how it goes. Now, does Hermes show up on other random islands in the Odyssey? Yes. So, Hermes showing up in places is understandable. He's traveling constantly. But this was a weird place. For multiple reasons. But yeah, I liked them going to him. And I liked that he purposely made them miss the deadline. Which is a big change. They missed the deadline. Instead of making it just in time, they completely missed the deadline. And yeah, that was a choice, but it works because Hermes purposely made them miss it because he thought they'd die. And he didn't want them to go to the underworld and never come back. And so he made it so they had no choice but to miss it. And now the gods can fight with themselves and not, Percy no longer has to do his quest. And then Percy choosing to do it anyway. So strong. That was amazing. Going back to where we were at in the scene, Annabeth stealing the keys, but Hermes knowing was cute. The note saying, for the dumb kids. That was good. Grover being the one that forgot, not only because he got distracted by another want of his, but because he was alone and Percy and Annabeth were together, was a nice touch. And the taxi was funny. I can't believe that I'm going to say it, but I think the scariest part of the show so far is Percy driving. Hopefully he'll figure it out by the time he needs to steal a police car, but, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that was funny. Now, going back to my overall feelings about the Lotus Casino scene, it was good, but I feel like it has the same problem that I'm having with most of these episodes, which is they're not funny in the same way that these scenes are in the book. Like, they're focusing so much on the drama and the emotion that I feel like they're missing the humor. And maybe it's just because Percy describes everything as it being super funny. But it's not. None of this has been funny. And they've, removed some stuff, sure. And changed things around. But yeah, they're focusing so much on, the emotional, through line that I'm just it wasn't as funny. This was still funny. The taxi was funny. The theater friend was funny. Grover was hilarious without his memory. But yeah, it wasn't the same. And that's just a long running thing. So I hope if they don't fix it in the last few episodes of the show, that maybe they've put a little bit more focus on the humor for season 2. It's not ruining the show, though. It's still really good. It's just that, Percy Jackson and all of Rick Riordan's work has a very specific balance of humor and drama. And I think that it's a little off balance right now. So. But yeah, the underwater scene at the beach was really good. They did a good job filming it. I'm sure that was really hard to figure out with the talking underwater. The faces looked a little CGI, but I'm not really sure if that's actually what they did, or if they just look weird because, well, I know she's CGI'd, but I don't know what they did with Walker for him to be able to speak underwater for that scene. I'm interested. I really hope to find out. besides just not being quite as funny as I want it to be, it's not bad. And, you know, I love this show, so I'm always going to be picky. This is my favorite series of 15 years, you know? I'm not going to love everything. But I'm so excited for next week's episode. Especially because we're getting Krusty's waterbed palace. I thought that we weren't gonna get it. I screamed when I saw it. And my mom was like, what happened? Why are you screaming? And I was like, the waterbeds. And she was like, I didn't see it. And I was like, it was like 2 seconds. It's easy to miss. But, you know. But yeah, anything else from this episode to talk about? I am just a few other things. I am really happy that they all think it's Clarice that is the lightning thief, because that is a perfect, like, distraction from the actual lightning thief. And there's just a little detail from last week, it doesn't have to do with this week, but while I still am not in love with Hephaestus's portrayal in the last episode, I do think that they are going for, like, a Leo Valdez vibe with him. I don't know if it succeeded, because he was giving off, like, meek and, like, quiet vibes, and there is nothing about Leo that is meek or quiet. But, like, you know, he gave off more Leo vibes than, like, Charles Beckendorf vibes, you know? So, it's fine. I hope that they do a little bit more with his portrayals in the future, but this wasn't the most important moment with Hephaestus, so it's okay. But yeah, I'm just so excited for the rest of the episodes. I really hope the show ends with a bang, and if it is in any way accurate to the books, it will. So it was great to talk to you all, and I'll see you next week.